Hello everybody, my name is Dmitro Shitry and today I'm going to show you the demonstration of the graphical user interface for Universal Custom Premise Equipment or Edge Computing Platform dosiOS 21.02. On the right side you see the configuration of the equipment, the CLI of the equipment, and on the left side there is a graphical user interface. So the first step is to log in into the user interface. We use the common credentials. We log in, and what we see here, we see the free huge tables, amount of free huge tables in megabytes. We see the utilization of CPU. I will proceed with full screen of this graphical user interface. So what we have, huge tables, CPU consumption, available UCPs, CPs that are up, the ID of the UCP, and basically the most important part, the management bar. So as you can see here, we have service functions that are virtual machines and virtual switches that are represented by OVS. So these are bridges. And the main idea is that this toolbar is allowing us to modify the bridges, create VMs, modify VMs, and interconnect with bridges, VMs, and physical ports of the equipment. So basically, we refresh the page, and we see that there is some topology that is built. This topology is built basically via the configuration of the equipment. Show configuration path ECP, Edge Computing Platform. So what we see here, we see virtual function point 1, virtual function point 1, we see switch 1, switch 1, switch 2, switch 2, switch management, switch management. After that, switch 1 is connected to service function 1 and service function 2. So we see that switch 1 is connected to service function 2 as service function 1. And service function 1 is connected to switch number 2. So service function 1 connected to switch number 2. And also we have some switch for management plane. This switch for management plane is connecting the physical interface to this switch, and the switch connects to the internal interface of the dosiOS. So basically this is allowing us to have this access to the configuration from the graphical user interface. So basically, now what we can do with this? What the manipulation we can effectuate? We can create based on this graphical user interface. So first thing that I would propose is to delete the switch number 2. We can delete it. Command execution is finished. Now we check this configuration. There is a switch number 2 that should disappear. There is no more switch number 2. So we successfully deleted the virtual bridge, virtual switch from the graphical user interface, and it reflected to the configuration in the CLI. As a possibility, we could delete the switch number 2. Switch number 2 that is has the name switch 1. Command execution finished, and we delete the links recursively based on the switch that we have deleted. So we show on one more time the configuration, and we see that there are no more connection of bridge number 1 or bridge number 2 that are represented by switch number 1 and switch number 2. So we have two VNFs. And now if you want, for example, to connect a service function chain, service function with creation of the new bridge or new switch, we perform add node, so we put it for the into the full screen. We perform add node, and after we set the name of the switch dosiOS, and we specify the type of element that is going to be created. So we check the element that is switch created. Command execution with success. So we check one more time. We see the switch dosiOS that was configured, and now what we can do, we could connect this switch to VMs, to our service functions. So for example, we configure switch port number 1 and VM port number 1 with default configuration cVLAN, stacked node, stacked mode .enqueue, port mode default tag. So we save. Command execution is finished. So now we have the connection between our switch dosiOS and service function number 1 that is represented in this configuration. So we have switch dosiOS and it is connected to service function number 1. Easy. So basically we just showed that we are capable with graphical user interface to manipulate the configuration of virtual switch, of VMs, and interconnect these elements like service functions switch together. And now what I could add, it's just to branch the service function to the management switch, or service function to via switch dosiOS to the service function 2. So what I would create, it's create another link between switch dosiOS and service function 2. So first port of the switch is already occupied, so we choose second port, and there is first port of the machines that is free. So we save. Now we have the second connection that is represented here. Switch dosiOS connects two VMs, two service functions, service function 1 and service function 2. Also, we could create the service functions. So we just specify the VM, we specify the VNF, we give the amount of RAM, amount of CPU, interface number, OS location. This is address of image that is going to be loaded, and all of the other fields are reserved for the future usage. So this is a brief explanation of how we could manage the elements, create the switch, branch the switch with virtual network functions together, and configure the advanced mode of the switch, such as tag node, stack node mode, port mode, everything like this. Thank you for your attention.